Hey everyone, my name is Sarah and I am writing a novel. I didn't post a video yesterday and that was totally intentional, mainly because I didn't really have anything to talk about, so I'm actually starting to question this like video everyday thing. But today, I actually wanted to make a video today because I had an aha moment. I really like the NaNoWriMo, the little chart that they give you to track your word count throughout the month. And the reason I like it is because on top of giving you that like endorphin rush of seeing your little bar go up, it also keeps track of how many words you record. So granted, if I'm not recording everything I write, then it's not going to count every word I've written. But it does give me my daily average, and that's been really hopeful. I mean, I realize we're not even halfway through the month yet because it's only the 12th. Maybe it's the 13th. It's the 12th. Hell, I don't know. Anyway, but my point being is we're not even halfway through the month yet, and I'm already seeing that it looks like my daily word count is roughly somewhere around 2,500, which is... it's kind of revealing because it's a whole lot lower than I really want it to be. It's like half the word count I want it. I'd like to double that as a daily word count. But the other really neat thing that I think is interesting to me is, I think I talked about this on maybe like the first or second day, about how Stephen King mentioned that he only writes about 2,000 words a day. And I thought that was a really low number. I expected that Stephen King would write more in a day, just because, you know, he's a prolific writer, and he's like a pro too, man. He's been writing since I was a kid, and so I just thought that I guess I didn't realize how many actual words 2,500 words are. So I don't know. So anyway, it's very eye-opening to me to see that even on days where I'm like super productive, like the last couple days I've been putting out, I think I got like 6,000 words yesterday and I got 4,000 words today. And a lot of that has to do with the dictation software that I'm using. I'm not really sure how I feel about the dictation software because I'm noticing that my scenes are much longer. They're like twice the length they would normally be if I just hand typed them. And I'm wondering if that's not because, since I'm talking, if I'm not rambling in my text. I guess I'll find out when I go back and do a hard edit on it. Because right now I've just been doing kind of a soft go back where I just go in and catch all the words or try to fix all the words that it doesn't get or it gets wrong. Like one of my characters' names is Ned, and it keeps, I don't know why, but it keeps putting Ned down as that, which makes it really hard to go back and change because it's not like I can just find and replace all the that's in the scene, because I do actually use the word that quite a bit, actually. I should probably work on that. But yeah, so now I'm gonna have to go back and like, I don't know, like really fine-tune comb it to make sure that Ned gets put back where he needs to go. And I think that's just a matter of I need to train Dragon a little better to recognize when I'm saying things. I'm playing with my cats, by the way, if you're wondering. They think my power cord is a toy. But yeah, so I get a really great word count when I'm using the dictation software. I'm just concerned about the quality of the words. But I have been able to get my word count up quite a bit the last couple days because I'm dictating. So it's like, is the quality worth the am I getting quality and quantity, or am I just getting quantity and then creating work for myself later on when I go back and do an editing pass? I don't know yet. I don't know the answer to that yet. I'm still experimenting with this, but it is becoming a learning process. Knowing that my average is 25,000 is comforting because it's, you know, 500 words more than 2,000. But I really do need to work on doubling that because I really don't want to have to write on the weekends. Anyway, I had to go yell at my cat. And I completely forgot where we were. But so anyway, it's nice knowing that I can get about 25,000 words in a day, but I really am interested to see if I just, you know, buckle down on it, if I could get more. Something else interesting that happened yesterday, and kind of one of the other reasons why I didn't make a video, was I worried that I was getting story fatigue. And I know that a lot of people work on more than one project at a time when they work on projects, but you know, on Nano months you're supposed to focus on one thing, and I already had like the goal of getting 2 rough drafts this month, which would technically mean I was working on 2 projects, just one after the other. So I kept having this old story that I worked on, God, forever ago now, and it kept coming back up into my head and back up into my head, and I was like, oh, I just can't let it go. So I took the day off yesterday from writing on my regular novel. Well, I mean, I still got 6,000 words in, so I guess I don't have a lot of room to talk. But the point is, my main focus yesterday was just going back over the story I'd been working on about, I think it was about 2 years ago that I sat down and really started dedicating myself to that story. And it's one of those pet projects, I'm sure everybody has one, where you have like this huge immersive world and all this backstory and myths and gods and people, and it's a fantasy novel, so I mean, like, stuff's all over the place. Won't play with that anymore. And so I just kind of went back to it. It's like comfort food. It's like my comfort story. I go back to it and I look at it, and it's actually not terrible. Like, I was really kind of happy with it. I was like, oh, this isn't bad. It's only about 20,000 words, which is what I was trying to keep things at anyway. I have a series of short fantasy stories that I was writing, and I wanted to keep them around 20,000 words because I meant for them to be short. So this one I think is clocking in about 18,000, but I think I could actually expand it quite a bit, probably. Very easily anyway, and probably get it up to about 30, maybe 35, possibly 40K. It just make it a longer story. And yeah, but the version that I have right now, it needs a little bit of tweaking, but I think it's ready for an editor, which is crazy for me to be saying, because that means that I'm like ready to hand one of my stories over to someone whose job it is to like eviscerate it. And yeah, it's kind of exciting. So like I said, I have an editor in the wing. I don't know if they're chomping at the bit to do any of my stories, but I don't really care either. I mean, I'm paying them, right? I don't know. I hope if they read it and they hate it, they tell me that, just so I can't imagine trying to edit something you hate. Like, I mean, I understand doing a job because you need to do a job, but man, I just feel like that would just suck if you were like editing somebody's story and it was just awful, or like it just didn't resonate with you, or it offended you in some way, and you're like, now I have to keep editing this piece of crap. And I just hope that never goes through my editor's mind. Probably won't. She's a very nice person. But anyway, these are the thoughts that I have and the fears that I have before I hand my word child over to them to do whatever you do with. Yeah, she's also aware that I'm a dyslexic, so that's really interesting. I think it will be interesting to see where my big weaknesses are going to be, because I've learned to catch 50% of my weird spellings, but the rest of them I can't see them. I just don't see them. It's part of the fun of being dyslexic. And so it'll be really interesting to me to see you know, what she's catching and what she's changing just because of the dyslexia, you know, not just like your typical grammar errors and things like that. I'm sure I'm going to have plenty, but that has nothing to do with my dyslexia. That's just lazy. But yeah, so anyway, I'm excited to get the short story polished up, and you know, I'm probably going to spend another, when I finally get back to that story, because the other part of that was I just gave myself yesterday to do this. I just spent the day yesterday doing kind of the hard first over edit of the story, and it's the first time I've looked at it in a really long time. And like I said, I was pretty happy with it, actually. I was like, oh, this is, I mean, there's some definite places that can be improved, but for the most part, I was like, this is actually pretty solid. So, but I only gave myself yesterday to work on it. I definitely think when I get done with my 6 books in this series, I think I am going to jump over to the short story series and really try to crank those out. But in the meantime, it's also a really nice project to just kind of rest my brain on, because yesterday, going over that story and not thinking about the project that I'm working on for Nano this month was really kind of rejuvenating. And by the time the evening rolled around and it was, you know, I actually had the itch to go and work on my story for Nano this month, and that's when I was able to dictate out all those words. And I mean, I'm not unhappy with the scenes that I'm getting from excuse me. I'm not unhappy with the scenes that I'm getting from dictation. I'm just concerned that they might be wordy, and I'll have to talk, because I've got 2 people who are beta reading my stuff as I'm writing it, and they're 2 of the people that have like contributed their characters to the story. So it's kind of important to me that they're reading it as I'm writing it, so that if like little things pop up, like I've been spelling this one character's name wrong this entire freaking time, which again, find and replace makes it a simple fix, but it's still kind of annoying to know that that's what I've been doing for like 5 chapters. And so, yeah, that's been fun. But I should probably like ask them if they think the scenes are getting too long or too wordy or something like that. And hey, it's trash day. So yeah, I guess taking that day off and just kind of resting my brain really not only helped me create content for this video, but it also kind of helped me reset for my story. I think because I took yesterday off as a writing day, I think I'm going to try and do like 2 half days of writing on Saturday and Sunday, because usually I don't write on the weekends, if you didn't notice last weekend. So I'm thinking that since I took a day off, I should try to like spread it out across the weekend and maybe try to get about 2,000 words on Saturday and Sunday. Not shoot for a full whatever, but you know, do my normal amount, I guess, on Saturday and Sunday, just to keep my word count up, because it is behind. And I was thinking about, because in NaNoWriMo you can edit your word goals, so I was thinking about doing that this month, so we'll see. For the most part, I'm actually really happy with how this is going. I'm really happy to see that I'm on like chapter 5 of the 2nd novel. As I was saying, I only have 2 chapters of the first book left to do, really. So I'm on chapter 5. I'm expecting about 19-20 chapters. It's moving pretty quick. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna stick with the dictation just to see how this turns out, and if I'm really lucky, I'll probably wrap up this draft and at least start the 3rd book probably the last week of this month, which means, I mean, I won't have obtained my overarching goal of having 2 rough drafts this month, but I will have completed at least 1 rough draft, most of the first rough draft, and started a 3rd rough draft. And to be completely honest with you, I will probably stop on the 3rd rough draft next month, go back and finish the 1st book, and then go back and do the 3rd draft. It's just organization in my head, you know, it's just how it has to be, because otherwise I just can't concentrate on it. So I will talk to everybody tomorrow, maybe a little bit more about my developing realizations while I'm writing these novels. And yeah, I hope everybody's enjoying watching me stumble my way through these first drafts. And yeah, if you give me a like, give me a share me with your friends. I don't know, I can't say anything else that isn't completely crass at this point. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow.